Hey everyone, I'm Matt Mitrovich, the alternate historian, and I'm back again with my wife, Elena.
Hi!
And we are here to review episode 4 of The Man in the High Castle, and I completely forgot the name of the episode. Remember what it was called? Now, alright, awesome. The episode not to be named at this moment will be named in the actual title of this review when you see it on YouTube. So anywho, we begin as we usually do with a plot summary of this episode that we forgot the name of. Elena? Tradition that you start usually.
Okay, so couple things going on. We'll start with Juliana and Joe, mainly because they're my favorite story.
Yeah.
And so
I have some issues with them. But
I know. Well, so Juliana and Joe are somewhat on the run from the Marshal, so there's a lot of that going on. And also Joe is having trouble with dealing with the fact that he has feelings towards Juliana, and yet he is supposed to be part of the Nazi party and be doing things that are for them, and obviously she's a rebel, and
she's been sort of thrust into it.
She's been thrust into it. We don't necessarily know what she believes in yet.
We know that she's trying to figure out why her sister had to die for this.
Right.
And that seems to be her main motivation. She's not really in the resistance per se. She's really doing this because she wants to know why her sister died. What was so important about these videos?
True.
This is a film. I mean, she saw it and she's like, oh yeah, this is obviously something very important.
Amazing and whatever, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, what good are they? They're just film. They're not going to... What can they possibly do to make things better? So I would say that's her main motivation, really.
I agree. So, one of the things is she goes back to her boss from the diner. Remind me of his name. Please help me.
I think it's Washington.
Washington, yes, thank
Washington.
you. So
Lem Washington?
Yeah. So she
sure it's right here actually.
So she goes back to him because she saw his name on the list, and her sister's name was also on in the cave in episode 3. And so she wants to warn him, and he obviously already knows.
Ooh.
What are you, a monkey?
You kind of remember, we kind of have to go back to sort of the beginning of this. This episode really started off right when she's being chased by the Marshal, remember? Mm-hmm. And the Marshal seems to corner her and is about to get her, and then Joe comes in and saves her, knocks him down, says run away, and leaves the Marshal with the gun. Why? Why not take the gun away? Or why not kill him with his gun? I mean, you saw this guy was shooting at you. I don't think anyone's going to be that angry if you kill him. Now,
I think Joe left his gun at one point in his truck as well. I think it was the same scenario going on.
Yeah, so. Not a very good Nazi agent.
No, definitely has not had much training on what a soldier should be doing. So he's probably not a soldier
agent. He's not a soldier per se.
Whatever it is,
a cop.
He does not have enough training for whatever.
But it was just it was such a silly thing to do because you just left your guy, your villain, the person chasing you, with the tools to continue chasing you.
Yeah, when you knocked him down.
And maybe you can make an argument that the reason why Joe didn't want to kill him is because technically they're on the same side. But we just know that he's a bounty hunter. We know he's got certainly Nazi leanings, but he's not exactly... We don't know whether he's doing things on his own or he's listening to anybody. My guess is he's not listening to anybody, so one dead bounty hunter really isn't going to change anything, especially if his... later on, we find out, Joe is tasked to kill the man in the High Castle, and, Smith even tells him, guess what, if you die killing him, that's fine. Go ahead. So I guess if Joe killed the Marshal and then also killed the man in the High Castle, he could come back being like, what do you want me to do? He got in my way. What was more important, this bounty hunter being alive or the man in the High Castle being dead? Your pick.
Yeah.
But anywho, I'm sorry to interrupt you. So they run into Lem's house.
Yeah, so they visit his house and
another thing that annoyed me. I know you said this is your favorite story, but Lem had a gun. If you remember in the last review, I was complaining about how this lawless territory and no one had guns except for the one bad guy. And again, when they go to Lem's house, he has a gun. Why didn't he take that with him everywhere he went? He could have had that behind the counter in his diner, so that if anyone threatened him, he could take out a gun. Sorry. Go on. I'm sorry. Go on.
So anyways, so they visit his home, and he is actually the person that she was supposed to pass the film on to. And so he wants the film, and she says, absolutely not. I want you to take me to who you're going to give the film to next. And So eventually he agrees to that. However, when they go to meet the next day at that meeting, that is not what's so. He has other buddies with him with guns. Right?
Yes.
Then they have weapons.
They seem to be resistance types.
Right.
Definitely.
And so they all demand for the film as well.
And they almost kill Joe because they think he's a Nazi.
Yeah, they do not like Joe. They're pretty. Yeah, they're
To be
pretty
fair, he is a bad guy.
Yeah, but he's kind of cute.
Okay, all you have to do is cute, and you can murder his people.
So it's okay.
I'm sure there's some cute guys in that SS uniforms.
Totally kidding.
But he manages to diffuse that situation by also showing his copy of the film, saying that, listen, I'm not a bad guy. Granted, he is a bad guy, but... And Lem and his buddies kind of leave him, saying, you're not coming with us. Climb the mountain, you might get away from the Marshal. And that's kind of... they decide they can't do that. They're not really good at climbing. So they decide to go find a way to get the Marshal off their send. And this is what really bugged me too, another thing, because it's such a convoluted plan. Juliana walks into town, makes sure that the Marshal sees her. She gets to a car. I'm not sure. I don't think it's her. She just steals a car and drives away. Before the Marshal can follow in his own car, Joe kind of blocks his path with his truck and tells him, "Don't go after her. I'm a Nazi agent." Blah blah blah. And Marshal's like, "Okay, I'm not going to shoot you, but I'm still going to go after her and I listen to you." And then he finds her, but she finds the car and it's on fire and there's a body in it. And later we find out that it was the body from the cave, and Juliana drove over there, stuffed the body inside that in fire, and then Joe caught up with them and went away. And wow, what a crazy fucking convoluted plan.
Yeah, language.
Maybe I'll find a way to beat myself. My point is, again, why bother with that? I mean, why is Joe trying to keep the Marshal alive? Why not run him over his truck when he had a chance? Why not shoot him with his gun that we know he had?
Yeah, what is the motive for keeping Joe alive by the Marshal? What is the
motive of keeping Joe alive by the Marshal? I'm not
saying.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what your... What is Joe's motive for keeping the Marshal alive?
Thank you. There you go.
My only thing I think of is that since they're both technically Nazi agents, although I would make an argument that the Marshal might not be that important of a Nazi agent, since he's apparently in some backwater buffer zone where he's left on his own and can do pretty much what he wants. That's probably because they don't care what he's doing. If he has any higher ups. So I would argue mostly he's expendable, but my guess is that's the only reason. That they're both Nazi agents, so he doesn't want to kill someone who's technically on the same side. Right. But again, it was another convoluted plan as well. It was just like, why not? I mean, like, why just steal a car? And if the Marshal sees you, shoot him. I mean, that's it. I mean, who cares? I just never understood. So, I know you said your favorite characters, and I guess they have some sort of good chemistry. I'll maybe make an argument about that.
I feel like love tension.
But she has a boyfriend. Or a fiance.
She walked out on him.
And that makes her an asshole.
Frank says later that she left, and that
makes her a bad person. I'm not gonna look too kindly on someone who's already done something awful. She did something bad. You could say, like, oh, I can't wait for this romance, but this romance was built on someone who was in a good relationship and a guy who really loved her, and say, you're not that important to me anymore.
Yeah, you're right. I know. You make me feel bad now.
Gotta remember that sometimes. These characters, this isn't a storybook. This isn't Disney. You gotta remember, not everyone...
But I like love.
Not all love is built on...
I think I reached my romance goals.
Yeah, you probably do. Let's move on to another storyline. So Frank, the guy I mentioned, who... not only got abandoned by his fiancée, but got tortured. He
didn't get a phone call from her.
Got tortured by the Japanese, got his sister and daughter killed because he was trying to protect her, this woman who left him.
That's true love.
And it is not reciprocated at all. I know, I
feel bad for him, but kinda.
Frank has pretty much had enough, and he's planning to kill the Crown Prince at the speech. Mm-hmm. His buddy, it was Eddie, wasn't it? That was the name? Yes, we found out the name of DJ Quayle's character. He tries to stop him, even though, before this, Eddie has always been sort of like, screw the Japs, screw the Nazis, but now that he actually is having someone who might actually do something to do it, to do something to fight them, he's like, oh, no, it's bad, it's not, he didn't do anything, it's not his fault, it's just like, alright, so you can talk a big talk, Eddie, but you can't walk the walk, and actually that's fine, there's plenty of people out there like that. Anyway, Eddie tries to stop Frank, Frank gets the upper hand on him, There's also a scene too where Frank gets bullets because he only had a gun, he didn't have any bullets, and he got it from this shopkeeper who deals with like American antiques. And I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but he is actually a point of view character in the book. But he's only in there briefly. He sells the bullets to Frank after some back and forth, and Frank goes to the scene. Mm-hmm. And before we go into that, we kind of have to go to another plot line that sort of converged on that scene as well. Mm-hmm. And that was with Tagomi. You know, he's still working with the German spy who wants to, and again, this is another issue that bugged me. I've been complaining about why the Japanese don't have the bomb. I kept saying they don't have the bomb, and then it was confirmed. They're literally giving atomic bomb secrets to the Japanese. The whole point was to sit the guy, the German spy who's parading as a Swedish diplomat next to the science minister, or just someone from the science department of Japan. He was supposed to slip into his pocket. Why? Here's something. They have the German spy give it to Tagomi. Tagomi goes to the Crown Prince. He gives it to the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince goes back home, gives it to the science guy. Or Tagomi, he just gives it to Tagomi. Tagomi goes back home on vacation, goes to the science guy and gives it to it. There was literally no reason to do this. You should have
seen Matt watching this episode. He was all over the couch.
It was just
completely freaking out.
And this is
you're right.
And this doesn't even piss me off that much. This is just such a convoluted. This whole episode is just convoluted plan after convoluted plan after convoluted plan.
Unnecessary.
And on top of all that, it confirms my worst fears that they just had the Japanese stop. They didn't. They apparently are stuck at World War II technology levels, which again, we know they were experimenting with chastity in World War II. Even at the very end, we know they had a nuclear weapons program. Even if it wasn't that far along, my guess is in a world where they had all the resources of East and South Asia and a lot of the Americas and all the Pacific and Oceania and who knows what other territory they have, they would have had the resources and probably even the brain power to keep making a nuclear bomb on their own. They did not need to get German help. It's inconceivable in my mind. It is just literally inconceivable. But whatever. We're actually coming to probably what I thought was one of the better parts of the episode, which was actually the ending. And do you want to keep going with that?
Well, in the end, so Frank's there and he has his gun and he's only down to 2 bullets. He bought 3, but he's down to 2.
Oh, Eddie accidentally shot him.
Eddie got away from him and accidentally shot him when they were fighting about
that.
Excuse me, if Frank was even going to go. Frank ends up going. He's got 2 bullets. And I just found this whole scene to be very moving and edge of my seat. Because in reality, I was bored most of the episode. Really bored. I found that like any plan people had made no sense to me, and I was just like, well, why? So at the end, I was really bored, and then there's the scene where Frank is taking out the gun from his hidden area, his coat or whatever, pocket, and a little boy that's there in the crowd listening to the prince speak. A little Japanese boy sees the gun and his eyes are big and he's just watching and his mouth's kind of hanging open, and I'm just thinking, oh my god, this little boy is going to witness this man getting shot. And to me, that just broke my heart. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a teacher that touched me in a certain way. But it broke my heart that this little boy would witness something like that, and I just felt really bad.
But he didn't witness it.
Well, he did.
Well, he didn't see Frank. No.
Frank ended up, because he saw the little boy looking, did end up putting his weapon away. However, in the end,
someone shot the Crown Prince.
That's right.
Now, the question is who did it. I'm sure it's going to be the next big mystery in the next few episodes, which we haven't watched yet. I have 3 theories, and I'll explain to you why some of them make more sense than others. Now, probably I think everyone's gut reaction to that would be, oh, it's the Resistance. I would argue no, because in an earlier episode, Frank was talking to some of the Resistance, and when he was saying we should do more, and they're like, no, we could still work with the films. And I get the feeling that based on what this seems the Resistance, based on the few times we've seen the Resistance on the East Coast, the West Coast, and in the neutral zone, they seem just wanting to get these films. They just want the films, and that's all they care about. So my guess is they're not into assassination. Then there's the Germans. Now we know already there's factions in the German government who want war with the Japanese, who think it was a bad idea that they agreed to neutral zone at all. So by killing the Crown Prince, this could be their sort of like way of instigating the Japanese to make the first move, essentially, to actually start a war so that they can finish what they started. The third option is, this was just based on something that happened in the show when the crown princess was talking to Gomi about how, he wants peace and with the Germans, and the generals want him to be more aggressive, and he's saying no, and it got me thinking, like, well, maybe if it's someone inside the Japanese government who doesn't want this prince to be the emperor, so they'd rather get rid of him and have someone more aggressive, and they think that's the best way to keep themselves alive. And I would wager my money more on that, and I think that sort of would be a much more interesting storyline. Now, I have no idea what it is going to be, but I guess it's going to find out. I guess there is one more storyline we have to kind of focus on, and that's Smith's. He really wasn't that much going on. We do know one of one of his witnesses who tried to kill him ended up killing himself. Someone apparently got a spoon in there that he broke off and used to cut his own
freaked
throat.
me out. I don't know why they even told me that.
And so now it's like there's someone inside the Nazi hierarchy who's not only trying to kill Smith, but is also hampering any of his investigations into who that is. And so I would argue that the better storylines in this show so far are Frank's. Simply because
I like Frank's character development.
Yeah, he suffered so much, and he's just trying to
his whole world just got turned upside down in like a matter of days, in my opinion.
And it's still not working out. He went out to kill the prince, and he couldn't do it, and then someone did it for him. It's just like, you might see that he's an ineffective character. I just see it as someone who's just trying so hard to fight fate, to fight the universe, to fight God, whatever you want to call it, and failing. And it's sort of like, sometimes that failure is powerful enough something you want to watch. And then I also like Smith's character still, simply because I'm just interested about the sort of like the spycraft going on back in New York. I want to know what the resistance is doing, and I want to learn more about that. Tagomi's storyline isn't fun anymore because it confirmed my worst fears that the Japanese were really poorly written as a society in this alternate history, so I could care less. Juliana and Joe are all right, and certainly that's probably where the story's supposed to be, but they don't seem very smart.
No, they don't.
And at the same time, I don't really sympathize all that much with Juliana's character. Yeah, it sucks to watch your sister die, but at the same time, she seems to be like, she doesn't care how many other people get hurt or in the process, just so that she can find out not even why your sister died. We knew why your sister died. She was dealing with stuff that was illegal. That's why your sister died. Now you want to know why this stuff is important.
Right.
But at the same time, and it probably is going to be important, I'm not denying it, but at the same time, she doesn't seem to be all that bright, and I just don't sympathize with her as a character at all. Okay. This was one of the weaker episodes. Yes, I was
extremely bored. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of kept looking at the time to see how long had passed, and just kind of, I was just bored. I think I did laundry during this time. I think I played on my phone at some point. I just could not stay focused on what I was watching. I think that's why I don't even have much to say, because I was just so bored. I felt like the episode was twice as long as usual. Like, that's just how it felt like. Mm-hmm. Even though it was an average length of an episode. Was it 50 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that? No, I felt like it was forever, and so it just dragged for me.
Well, I guess it was a bad episode. I think we both agree it's a good ending, at least.
The ending made me then, if there hadn't been an ending like that, I almost would have turned to you and said, I'm done. I can't take it. Well, and so unless they start picking it up, this might be the last of me. Because, I was just so bored in that episode until the end.
Well, you heard it here, guys. If I'm alone for the next review, Elaine didn't make it. I made a promise to get all 10 of these out, so I'm definitely going to. So, I didn't print out any comments, so there's nothing for us to read. Sorry about that. I know some people did, and I apologize for not printing that out. I am very unprepared. It's the holidays. Yeah. We got our anniversary tomorrow.
Yay! 5 years.
Ow. We hit our heads. And there's something else we want to talk about, don't we?
Yes. So yesterday we met with a social worker for our adoption agency to begin our adoption process. And so this is going to be a long process. Right now, she basically handed us a binder of paperwork. I don't think I've had that much paperwork in my life, and I'm a teacher.
I talked to the bar.
So, yeah. So we have lots of paperwork to do, lots of information to gather, And we also have some classes we need to take, and so we've been putting those into our calendar as well. And so that's basically where we're at with that. We also are fundraising. You want to talk about our fundraising page?
Well, yes, we set up a GoFundMe account. I will put the links below. I also have a link to our adoption blog that we're both going to be writing for. We haven't posted anything recently, but we're going to try to rectify that in the weeks to come. Probably starting next year, we're going to be really serious about writing stuff. Yeah. So I'll have links to both our blog and our GoFundMe page if you're interested. And again, if you can't give or that kind of stuff, I do ask at least share this review, share the blog, share the GoFundMe page. Any support you can have is great, and we'll continue to. On this channel to bring you good quality alternate history content in exchange. So I got nothing else to say. Do you?
Nope, that's it.
All right, well, I'm Matt Mitris, the alternate historian. This is my wife, Elena, and we'll be back for another episode of Man High Castle Review. Bye.
Bye.